And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avantes, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, Zeroshio.
What is up, gang? It is the middle of December. Where, man, time's just flying by, Avantis. I mean, I know like the first 4 months felt like 5 years, and
Yeah,
the summer
yeah.
of 2020 felt like a decade. And then when August hit, it was just like
Boom.
boom, 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 boom. Man, we are a month into Dark Moon Fair set. We just crowned the world champion, which we will talk about in the news section.
Yep.
Um, but before we get there, uh, Hearthstone. Have you played much Hearthstone this week? How's your week been?
This week I have not gotten to play as much as I would have liked. I actually have 3 daily quests banked right now that I need to
Ooh,
probably knock out after tonight's show.
smash 'em.
So, but other than that, I've finished all my weekly quests. I did get that done. Moving along, I need to check and see where I am this week on the progression track. I am currently rank 35, halfway to 36.
Cool. And
So,
on that note, I saw a tweet from Geminator underscore HS or at Geminator HS. We did it Reddit, and he hit level 50, and that was yesterday.
okay,
The tweet came out.
okay,
Uh, so somebody, and I don't know if he was the first. He's just the first one I saw. So we have people hitting level 50 already,
yes,
and presumably, if we're expecting a set in March, they still have the rest of December, January, February, and
part
whatever
of
part of
March.
March
Yeah.
to get up to what now is 350 levels.
Uh huh.
Uh, I personally have hit level 41.
Okay.
I hit it just before show started. So I'm kind of flying up. Got my really cool Jaina portrait. Now I'm gonna go for the Thrall one. Of course, that's on the paid track
Right.
because I'm a dirty American whale. So that's pretty much been my week. I hit legend. I don't. I think I was already a legend last show, but I hit legend with Libram, pure Libram Paladin,
Mm-hmm.
and been pretty much. I've actually been grinding the legend ladder, which I don't do often. I'm kind of hovering around 1500 legend, bouncing between 15 and 1800.
Okay.
I get on a streak and then I kind of dip a little and I get on a streak and I got as high as 1200. Uh, so the meta has been really good for pure paladin.
Mm-hmm.
The meta is really good for it in world champs as well. Because pure paladin had or Libram paladin, not the pure version, but Libram paladin had a pretty good showing in world champs. But I'm really enjoying Hearthstone right now.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't like this reward stuff, uh, and I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the rewards. Again, we talked about it last week,
Mm-hmm.
and we got an email about it this week that we'll talk about briefly. Um, but again, I want to say that my opinion is my opinion. We on Hero Power have never tried to push people to agree with us and say that we're 100% right. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. We love it when we have people that disagree with us and write into the show and give their opinions, and we'll be happy to voice those opinions. So if anybody wants to write in to heropowerpodcast@gmail.com or go to heropowerhs.com and click on the contact
Contact
us link,
us. Yep.
and we will get an email from you. We have no problems voicing other people's opinions on this because we know that we are not necessarily the most popular opinions, or we'll never even say we're the correct opinions, but they are our opinions. We try to express the news in a non-biased way as much as possible, but at the same time, just like everybody else out there that reads the various news articles and Reddit posts and whatnot, we have our opinions on the subjects, and we want to express those opinions to our listeners because we've been told that they want to hear those things. Now, if you disagree with us, that's fine. We welcome it, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're wrong or that you're wrong. These are all opinions.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, do you want to go to our email?
Yeah, sure. So we got an email this week from longtime listener Nigel. And Nigel says, just because you blokes are willing to pay out the arse for a video game and allow Blizzard to bend you over the table every 4 months, doesn't mean people who aren't willing or can't afford it shouldn't get to enjoy the game as you do. I listen to your podcast for the news because it's typically good and stomach your opinions as best I can. Because it doesn't matter how dodgy Blizzard gets, you blokes are just melts. I ran off the only bloke on the show who not attached to Blizzard's teat. So F me, I guess. Speaking of which, where did he bugger off to? I bet that guy is properly pissed off. I bet he uninstalled the game over this rubbish. Feels like work now, and I get anxiety when I don't log in to play because I know I'm falling behind. But I'm also bent as to how much time I want to put into Hearthstone now. How long until they find another way to get me to pay for their game? I feel like it's probably time to get out with blokes like you with, if you can't pay the premium, then you don't deserve to get to play with us, American mentality, saying that we shouldn't be mad. Bugger off. Over here, everybody pulls their weight, supporting things like healthcare and public transportation for everyone. We don't all have an entertainment budget like you do over there. Most of the blokes I hang with are skint between pays, and I can't afford to spend £100 every few months, along with the cost of new progression system to eat up my time and make me pay more money. Yet another example of Americans only thinking about themselves and how if something is okay for you, then it should be okay for the rest of the world. I was so pissed after listening to your last episode, I had to skiv off the game for a few days. Comparing an online game to a physical collector game is bullocks. It is you that need a reality check. Maybe money doesn't mean anything to you. But for the rest of us, it doesn't come easily. Not going to pay what they want to rent the game. Let's see. Not going to pay what they want to rent the game. Going to pay CCG prices. I want proper cards. I'm not saying we shouldn't get it for nothing, but if we're willing to put in the work, we should get to play just like you. Pay for the extra things, but shouldn't have just play a game that's only half skill-based. It's not entitlement. I would pay a one-time fee for the whole game. Or a monthly sub to get to play with all the cards. But they gouge us 3 times a year to rent cards. So they need to include enough free-to-play to be able to play the bloody thing without having to miss meals. Then, you spoiled arses go on to say that we don't deserve to get to play at a high level because we don't pay. That shows you have no idea what it's like to live outside of your cozy country. Honestly, I held you all in higher regards. Signed, Nigel. So, yeah.
First off,
yeah.
Thanks, Nigel, for writing in. We love your opinion, especially that it is adverse and against sometimes the way we see things. And you do make a lot of good points. I do want to focus on those first.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a subscription base where everybody has access to the cards. I don't think that's realistic for the company to make money and still make the same quality product that we're expecting now.
So I want to touch on this a little bit.
A lot of things.
I want to touch on this a little bit because I did. Versika and I had a long conversation about this, and when I brought this up, he said, "Huh, a subscription base for Hearthstone where you get access to all the cards. Yeah. How would that work, and what would it look like?" And so he and I started kind of spitballing ideas. So if you have access to all of the cards for a monthly subscription, that means you don't need packs in the game anymore.
That's right.
That means you don't really need gold unless you're only going to use gold to as an option for an entry fee into arena or heroic brawls.
That's correct.
Other than that, you could do away with gold and come up with another system entirely. You
with
don't
like
need
cosmetics.
You don't need dust anymore. Again, unless you're making stuff like cosmetics. So you could probably at that point completely do away with the progression track, unless it's just for cosmetics. So I mean,
the achievements could stay there. But here's the problem with that system. Then there is zero option for free to play.
That's correct. You are
then at that point it is a pay to play game, like World of Warcraft, where you have to you pay a subscription every month. And the issue with that is then basically all Blizzard is or Team 5 is making money off of is just those players that are paying the subscription. There's no extras inside. Now there can be extras, cosmetics. World of Warcraft has that kind of stuff. But at that point, everybody who is finding a way to enjoy this game free to play no longer can play the game.
That is true.
And I don't think the people that do invest a lot of money in this game to try to help the game sustain itself, like myself, doesn't have a really good viable option unless we're really into cosmetics. Now, I personally am, but a lot of players wouldn't put extra money. They would just pay the monthly subscription and be, oh, well, that's all I have to do now, so I'm not going to do anymore. And then they lose that income. Then all of a sudden they start losing the income to be able to support the staff they have and to support the voice actors and the art. And then we're going to run into games like Eternal, which Eternal, if you've ever played Eternal, is a great digital card game. It's very similar to Magic the Gathering. It has a lot of online viability like Hearthstone, but the problem is they don't make enough money to sustain the game well enough to come out with a competitive version of the game. And I wish they could, but they just don't. They just don't have the player base. They just don't have the chops for it. So they don't make enough money to make the game what Hearthstone is.
So let's talk about the funds, because right now, Blizzard is in the business to make money, not to give people stuff to do. The stuff to do is a side effect of Blizzard making money. Now, Blizzard is hemorrhaging money on what they call their professional scene. They are spending way more on this than what they probably should, because especially when 95% of their player base doesn't have a chance to participate.
I agree.
And get into the professional scene. They've locked the majority of their player base out.
I've said that before. The professional scene needs to be more inviting, like it used to be back in the day with the HCT system. And secondly, Blizzard needs to get with these organizations that are willing to run tournaments and take the time and find sponsorships and let them do this for them. Yeah. There's tons of them out there. There's Monkey Bubble. THL even runs some. No Pros here. There's the entire there's a I'm trying to remember the name of it, out in Europe. Europe had their own system, and basically Blizzard shut it down so that their players can play in Masters Tour and Grandmasters.
Are you talking about the Cup?
The Premier Cup.
Yeah.
The Premier Cup was being done in Europe, and that was really, really successful and had a lot of top players like Jambray got their name out of Premier Cup. And we don't have that, and we need something like that. Also, somebody on Twitter, Zeddy, and I'll say it, Zeddy said something smart, is that they need to find a better way in client to promote the world championships. He said nobody in his chat knew it was happening. That's probably true. There needs to be a pop-up, maybe a pack or reward to make people look to say, hey, world championships on YouTube, check it out. There's so much a disconnect between the Hearthstone client and competitive scene that some people don't even know world championships happened this weekend, which we'll be talking about shortly.
Yeah.
So I agree 100% that there needs to be more competitive reach. Magic the Gatherings, they're advertising right now all over Twitch how you can go into Magic the Gathering arena and compete in online tournaments that can give you money right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have anything like that. Do I necessarily think we need a competitive way in client? I'd like it, but I don't think we need that. But we need to embrace the competitive side and continue to support it instead of being its own like kind of good boys club or good person's club, you know.
So the other thing I want to address is in the part of the email where he talks about not necessarily we don't all have an entertainment budget like you do over there. Not everybody here has an entertainment budget. First of all, I work really hard for my money.
2 jobs.
I actually am working 2 jobs. My primary 40-hour-a-week job pays all of my bills, my mortgage, my power, my water, all of my utilities, my cell phone bills. All of my bills are paid from my primary job. Then I have a secondary job. I work an additional 20 hours a week just to have extra money for my son. Like this month, I've had to pay out extra for him to have senior pictures for his high school. I have money to take my family on a vacation, and I have a little bit left over to on average try to buy 4 or 5 video games a year, because video games are my passion. That is my hobby. That is one of the things I love to do. So, you know, I try to buy 4, 5, 6 games a year. Now, this year, there's not been a whole lot of video games coming out, at least like titles that I'm interested in playing. I love Hearthstone, and I look at buying a bundle at set release like buying a AAA game title. You know, I've just bought Cyberpunk 2077 because
I wish I could afford that.
That was one of the games on my list of games that were coming out this year that I had been saving money for and budgeting for. I'd also been saving money for the Hearthstone expansions, because each expansion for me is the equivalent of buying a AAA video game. So
it is.
When I say
it's to say it's expensive.
Yes, it's very expensive. So when I say I'm budgeting for 5 video games this year, it's Hearthstone Expansion 1, Hearthstone Expansion 2, Hearthstone Expansion 3, Cyberpunk, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Those were the 5 games I knew I wanted to play this year. And so I work my butt off 60 hours a week to be able to afford those types of things. You know, I make sure all my bills are paid first. I make sure my family is taken care of second. And then whatever I have left goes into my video game budget. And that's how I manage to do that.
On top of, in America, we have to pay for our own health care.
We do.
So
we have to pay for our own health care.
That's something that's in our budget that we have to do. Being a responsible adult, you want to do those things before you then establish an education budget. Now or an entertainment budget. Now me, just for transparency for myself, is I'm a disabled veteran. I'm 20% disabled. I can still work and still function, but the government gives me money for being injured in the line of duty. But I'm not injured enough that I can't at least hold a full-time job. So I do hold a full-time job. I am restricted because of my disability, but I do hold a full-time job, so I work 40 hours, and then I get a monthly check from the government for my veteran status that I use a portion of that for entertainment budget. And that's what I do. I put my time in the service and my body on the line. So now I use that money as I want to. Some guys save it up and buy a boat. Some guys go out drinking, once a month. Not me. I play video games. And I don't want to pull away from the fact and the clarity that Nigel is saying this game is expensive.
Yes.
And I don't believe we ever said, and if I did, I didn't mean to, that people that play this free to play should not enjoy the game. I think they should be able to enjoy this game. They have made a lot of positive changes in getting more packs for free for various ways. I personally think the Battle Pass reward system is a step in that direction. I do think it needs to get better rewards, and we're going to talk about that. They are making an update to that reward system. They are continuing to work in progress with it. So we are going to see positive changes to that. Yeah. But ultimately, if I, as a supporter of this game, buy the bundles or buy both bundles, and I spend my extra money on the game, I don't see why I wouldn't enjoy the game slightly better than somebody who decides to put no money into the game. Now, when we're putting in the same amount of time.
The other thing I want to point out,
more time than me, that's different.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I want to point out is, and I am guilty of this, Nigel, 100%. You hit the nail on the head of noticing how different it is here versus how different it is where you are. When I think about Hearthstone in other countries, I immediately think about the meta. How is the meta different where you are versus how is the meta different where I am and what I am playing? I do not immediately think about how is the economy different where you are versus how the economy is where I am. That is not something I think about when I think about the video game market, and that is a fault of mine. 100%. I agree with you on that fact. I was an American, being an American, and not thinking about how one thing is in my country versus how it is in another country.
And I'll say that I've thought of that specifically in one region, because we play another game we've talked about at Marvel Strike Force, and we have somebody in our alliance that is from Australia, or he's from New Zealand. He's from New Zealand, and the cost of bundles or deals out there is significantly higher.
Yes.
Even in the exchange rate, not just by their dollar, but in the exchange rate, for a $20 deal, they're paying the equivalent of about 27 to 30 US dollars for a $20 deal. But I never thought of that in Europe, where it's a little more established, the euro, or even in Canada. I know Canada pays slightly more, but I never thought it was enough. Maybe I just assumed maybe their pay is adjusted. Because I'll tell you now, we both live in Tennessee. My job's average pay is $62,000 a year. I barely make half of that. Mm-hmm. And so we live in a very low cost of living state in the United States. So we are tight on our money, but when we're willing to spend that money on something that we like and we love, I know myself and Avantis are going to. Could I play Hearthstone the way I play Hearthstone now and not spend any money on it? Sure. But I really appreciate, and I'm not talking about Blizzard, Activision. I'm talking about Team 5, the warm bodies that are in there slaving over balance. They might not get it right all the time, but they're slaving over balance. They're slaving over voiceovers, card details, art, UI changes. These people are everyday people like us, just trying to keep their job so they can keep doing what they love and have their hobbies outside of the game and outside of their work. And I want to support those devs, those people like Gallon, Chalky, personal friend of the show, Cora,
Alec,
people that we know. We've had the personal privilege of being able to meet some of these people in person, and we love the developers and the team behind the game. Now, do I think a lot of their decisions, especially marketing and financially, are pushed by Blizzard Activision? Yes. But does that mean I boycott the game so they risk losing their jobs? I don't want to do that.
No.
Because these are my friends. So my putting money into the game is more a support for the team that's working on the game. Do I think that people should enjoy the game for less cost? Yes, I do think the game is overpriced, and I've said that before. I'm just willing to pay that price right now.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I can work 2 jobs, 60 hours a week, to enjoy some of these other things and be able to support the people who create the things that I enjoy.
Yeah,
So,
and I'll tell you now, we have some people in the community that can't do that because, they can't work from home.
Right.
And their state's got them on lockdown, or their industry can't perform the way it used to.
All it would take is a phone call for my secondary job to be shut down for COVID reasons, and I'm down to just working my one primary job from home. And at that point, my ability to buy expansions or other video games goes away. That's all it is.
My primary job is in jeopardy right now because we print photographs for professional photographers. Professional photographers can't work right now, or not the way they used to. So I've had to rethink a lot of my spending and whatnot. But again, that's a personal situation I'll have to address.
So, Nigel, thank you very much for sending us this email. It really got us talking. It got us thinking about it. And like I said, I usually think about how the meta differs region to region, not how the economy differs region to region. And this really opened my eyes and got me thinking about other things. And so I just want to thank you for sending us this email.
And while I do disagree with a couple of your small points, a lot of your points I agree with. And nowhere in your email do I think you're wrong. It's just your point of view is different than mine. And we really do appreciate you sharing that point of view with us.
Yes. All right, so let's get to the news because we do have quite a bit to talk about this week. First up, there was a tweet earlier this week from the Play Hearthstone account that said, heads up, new Battleground season just around the corner. We will be resetting all players' Battleground ratings to 0 early next week to level the playing field for a new content update. So,
Zeroshio, you missed the important part.
What?
It's new content update, Googly Eyes.
The
Googly Eyes.
Sorry, missed the Googly Eyes.
So, this tells me early next week they're probably going to be resetting Battlegrounds ratings Tuesday.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this on the download, it could be as early as tomorrow.
So, some people were saying that means we're getting some kind of patch next week or this coming week. The week, if you're listening to us download, that means this week. I think some people think it's going to be next week. If it's next week, it'll be right before Christmas. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think this might be a pre-patch that might include balance changes, and it might go live. It could go live Tuesday, but I think more realistically, we're looking at Thursday.
Yeah.
And there's no details other than that. I don't know if this balance update is going to be specifically for Battlegrounds. I think there's going to be a lot of Battlegrounds updates on it. And we've seen these before where they put in this huge Battlegrounds patch, and then they've added a couple constructed balance patches to it, just like 1 or 2 cards. I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see Twin Slice get hit. We might see the Shatter Shard Mystic get touched. I think mainly Demon Hunter. I don't know what else needs to be touched. I don't think there's anything to touch in Paladin. I think Paladin's mainly good depending on the meta. And if you make Demon Hunter less good, then yes, I said less good. It's a word. If we make Demon Hunter less good, then we thus make Paladin
even better.
No, less good because Paladin counters Demon Hunter.
Well,
Right
yeah.
now I'm doing great because I'm just farming the Demon Hunters.
Yeah.
Because that's how I shot up to Legend this month so fast. So I think we're gonna get a balance patch, but it's not gonna be a big one that everybody wants. It's gonna be a small one leading into the new year.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So on top of that, we did get another announcement on this
This is
past
big.
Monday. That would have been December the 7th. That there is a rewards track update coming soon. So this was from game director Ben Lee. He said that since the launch of the new progression system, we've been listening to all of the player feedback and carefully reviewing gameplay data from the first few weeks while designing a variety of updates to meaningfully address the elements that feel too slow, not rewarding, or too difficult to complete. I think those are the important factors that most of the community has been complaining about. So, what are they going to do? First up, they're removing weekly quests that require legendary cards or arena runs.
And arena runs.
Well, yeah, and
either one. This is pretty big because there were quite a few that required like weekly quests, and we're not talking about your achievements.
I got the win 4 games in arena this week and immediately re-rolled it.
Yeah, because that is going to be a financial investment of gold.
Yes.
So why do we want to do quests that give us rewards, that give us XP, that give us rewards of gold, that we have to spend gold to do? That doesn't make any sense. So this is a good change.
Yeah. They're also changing the weekly win 7 games of ranked play mode. Now, that is a guaranteed weekly quest. Every single person gets win 7 games. But now they're changing it to only be win 5 games of ranked play mode.
I don't like this. This is the fact that you have to have this quest and you have to do it and you can't re-roll it is what upsets me. Whether it's 7 or 5 doesn't matter. Now, if they change this to play 5 games of ranked play, I'd be fine with it. Because not everybody can win at their ranks.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that struggle to get the card back every month. That take them the whole month just to get that sometimes.
That is correct.
And they literally play this game pretty much just for fun. They never really leave bronze. And this means, I'm sure this is going to be easier for them. But if they change this to play 5 games of ranked play and made it so you couldn't re-roll it, I'd be fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's some people that just play casual because they don't like the stress of ranked play.
Yeah. Well, next up, they've addressed one of the bigger complaints that the community had in that now Tavern Brawls and Battlegrounds will contribute to quest progress.
Good.
Big
change.
That's very good.
So you'll now be able to complete a quest like play 3 games as Priest, Rogue, or Warlock by playing Tavern Brawls. And quests that require you to play Beast, for example, can be completed by playing Beast in Battleground. This is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
This lets people play the way they want to play. And I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. They're also going to make some small tweaks to certain quests. For example, play 50 corrupt cards. Had some issues making it really hard to complete. And now corrupted cards should properly count towards progress. But they're also reducing the requirement from 50 to 30 to make it a little easier to complete these quests.
This quest was stupid. Do you know how it was? It was play 50 corrupt cards. Meaning, if you corrupted the card and played it, it didn't count. Because it wasn't a corrupt card. It was now corrupted.
Correct.
So you have to play suboptimally the way the card's not designed to complete the quest. This was dumb. This should have never happened. I got this quest and I played a was it Yashar's deck?
Yeah.
And I got that done. I was like, what? Well, I played at least 8 or 9 corrupted cards. Why didn't he get any progress? So I just re-rolled it. Well, now I found out later that it was working wrong. Well, now it's working right. And 50 was huge.
Yeah.
You should be able to do these quests in 2, 3, the weekly quest that is, 2 or 3 games at most.
Yeah.
For these type of play things, unless it's a certain number of wins.
I was going to say,
or
I would say 5 games at least you should be able to complete a weekly quest.
Okay, I could probably stretch that, but to do 50 corrupted cards in 5 games, that's stretching it.
So, but then the last thing that they're making a big update to is all of the 800 XP daily quests that you might get are now going to be moved up and reward a minimum of 900 experience.
So hear me out here. We're using base 10 math for the most part. Why can't these just be 1,000 XP? And then the next tier up's 1,500, and then that super ultra rare one's 2,000.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why can't we do that?
Yeah,
adjust the ladder the way you need to. Make it easy. Make it easy to calculate how much you're going to be able to get.
Yeah, they're also reducing the total amount of experience needed to reach certain levels of the rewards track by nearly 20%, or removing like 37,000 experience points needed from the track to progress.
Yes. So I've heard some people criticize this, saying 20%, that's nothing. 37,000 experience is a lot.
So last week we figured you were getting roughly 13,000 experience a week. That's almost 3 weeks worth of experience.
Exactly.
So
that's more than 3 weeks.
Well,
it's almost
13, 26, 39. So
okay. So just short
of 3 weeks worth of experience. Yeah. So they're also adding more gold to certain levels of the rewards track, which, if you guys have noticed, I believe this is already implemented, correct?
Yeah, they implemented this, I think, the next day, or it might have been a couple days after this post on last Monday. I think it came out Wednesday or Thursday. Basically, they've added 50 gold to the current rewards for levels 27 and 30.
27.
It's not a huge change.
Okay, yeah. So that's
just
100 extra gold.
100 extra gold, not a lot. But it reaches their overall goal. The important part to me is, or the big thing in this is, we're adjusting rewards track bonus levels to provide steadier gold income. We're redesigning the bonus rewards after completing levels 1 through 50. Player feedback highlighted how these bonus levels took too much time to earn, leading to long play sessions between rewards. The maximum bonus level is now 350. Up from 150, and we're splitting the XP across these levels. So what he means by that is it's going to take the same amount of time to go to level 350 as it would to go to the old 150. Each level beginning at 51 will now take less XP to complete and reward 50 gold. So instead of 150 gold, it's only going to be 50, but you're getting
that's because
more levels.
They split it. They increased the level amount 3 times and took the 150 gold per level and split it out 3 times. So you're getting the same amount of experience, the same amount of gold. You're just moving up the track faster. Yeah. Because it takes less experience.
I think this is more of a feels good thing. You're going to feel good doing this. I don't think this is an improvement, but they said we have some ideas about tweaking the 1 through 50 experience to make progression feel better for all players. We will keep working on this system to get it right, and we will share more information as we finalize our plans. We're thankful and fortunate to have such a passionate community, and your constructive feedback is always heard. So they, like they said earlier in the blog post, is this, they're not treating this static. We have a link to the whole blog post on our show notes. It'll be at heropowerhs.com, so you can read the things we didn't talk about specifically. But they said that they don't want people to think the reward system is static. They want to keep iterating on it and finding out what they need to do to make it right for the players that are playing it. You have to remember, they tested this on a closed circuit and internally. They're not going to get nearly the data they would until they put it out to their 60, 70 million players that they have, and to see how it affects the players that play every single day and put in as many hours as a streamer does, or like I do, 30, 35 hours a week. And then also cater it to somebody who might only play 2 to 3 hours a week, if that. So they need to make it good for all parties involved. And that's going to take some tweaking. It's going to take some work, and they are willing to put in the effort. I know a lot of game companies that they'll put out a reward system and their community doesn't like it. And they're like, well, and the next time we do a reward system, we will make it so it's better for everybody else. And they don't plan on making any changes.
Mm-hmm. So, all right.
I think it's positive. That's a positive thing.
So far, I've liked what they've said. I look forward to these updates coming and seeing the community's thoughts on this as well. So, if you guys have any pre-ideas before this goes live, send them to us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
And know that Team 5 obviously reads Reddit, and they follow these content providers, content creators that are providing this kind of feedback. The Solemns, the Dexters, the Zeddies, the Regis Killens. They listen. They are clearly listening to all of them.
Yeah.
And when you make a tweet and you tweet them a link to that person's video, they watch them. But a lot of people say, wow, it took them like 3 weeks to do this. Well, they have to take that information. They have to digest it. They have to have meetings about it. They then have to get their number crunchers to compare what's happening on the actual ladder and in client, to compare to what they need to do to resolve the system. I know that there are content creators saying, make this change, make this change, make this change. But they can't just listen to those one or two content creators, to make a change and know it's going to work. And also they need a little bit of time for the data to pile up so they can crunch those numbers. I think Ben Lee has done a good job in responding to this and putting it in action within a month. It's been within a month. Barely, but it's been within a month. And that is faster than we got back in the Ben Road days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Patches. What was that, 6 months?
Yeah.
I mean,
at least
we might not get a response to any issues until just before the next set when there's a pre-patch. Now they've made it a point that they have multiple patch cycles through the year. I mean, now we're seeing the 19.1s and the 2s and the 4s and the 6 and the 8. Back in the day, we'd see 19.0, then we'd see like 19.4, might see 19.8, and then boom, we'd see the new set come out. And so Team 5's doing a good job. They might miss the mark. They're just humans. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy with what's trending. Do I think we're at the end point of where Battle Pass needs to be? No. But I think they'll get there.
I agree. There will be more updates to the system in the future. It's not they're not going to just make an update and walk away. They are going to keep going and tweaking until it feels right. I
think they will. And Ben Lee has personally, from just seeing his communications, has impressed me compared to past leadership. And I was a big Ben Brode fan. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But I think Ben Brode, while he had a better front-facing face, he was better at talking to us and basically telling us to live with the problems until he can fix it. Ben Lee has done a better job of just telling us, hey, I've heard your problems. I'm going to fix them.
Yeah. So let's talk about something else the community is talking about. The free Book of Heroes campaign. So for those of you who might not know what it is, here's a little bit of backstory. The Book of Heroes campaign comes with origin stories for each hero class, who all happen to be part of World of Warcraft's MMO main cast of heroes and villains. The first character, Jaina Proudmoore, launched during the second week of the Forbidden Library event back on September the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
The potential is always there to revisit stories if fans keep enjoying content, said Valerie Chu, narrative designer for Hearthstone. She then goes on to say, we're using wild decks so that there will be some new cards along with some old cards that players can enjoy playing the game with. Chu also says the team is aiming for roughly one installment in the Book of Heroes every month and will run every month for the next 10 months. Book of Heroes rolls out with Forbidden Library. Then in October, on October the 13th, we got Rexar, Book of Heroes, exploring his past and how he joined the Horde. And then in November, we were supposed to get Garrosh. And in December, we're supposed to get Uther.
Were we?
However, there has been no movement on the Book of Heroes campaign since the Rexar release on October 13th. The date of this recording is December 13th.
So
it has been exactly 61 days since anything has happened with Book of Heroes. Now, a lot of the community is stating Book of Heroes was a fun experiment, but it's dead in the water. Zeroshio, what do you think?
I think I predicted this. They said that they had 10 heroes to do over 10 months. And in the blog post I read, it said over the course of the next year, we will release all of those Book of Heroes. Well, a year has 12 months. And there's 10 months worth of content. So I said I did not expect to see any of these Book of Heroes, storylines in months that we have large content, like a set. Now, I at the time said, since we had a set in August, we would get one for September, October, November, and then we would get the new set in December. Well, we got the set in November, so I did not expect a Book of Heroes in November. In Client, we have the achievement to get to do the storyline for the Garrosh Book of Heroes, which is supposed to be the next one. I think with this patch that's coming out just before Christmas that they've kind of alluded to with this Battlegrounds rating, we're going to also get the Book of Heroes for December, which will be Garrosh. And then in January, we'll probably get the Paladin set. And then and that's if we don't get the 35 card mini set in January. So I think in January we'll get Paladin, Uther, and then we'll get the mini set in February, or we'll get the mini set in January, and then we'll get Uther in February. One of the two. So I wouldn't expect one every single month. I think there's going to be some gap months based on set releases.
Right, but if you do that, let's say there's a gap month for every set release. There's a set release in March. There's a set release in July.
Okay.
You're looking at now. Now it's going to take you 14 months to release 10 heroes.
Well, my math says 13, but okay.
So
that is 1 month longer than a year. So maybe they stagger. I don't know. But I did not expect to get a Book of Heroes in the same month that we got Darkmoon Faire. Now, I will say I did expect to get Book of Heroes before World Championships, but maybe they didn't want to take shine from World Championships, even though they didn't advertise World Championships in Client. That's another problem I have, but we'll talk about that another time. But I do think that we'll probably get the Book of Heroes Garrosh in December, and I think we'll get it this coming week. Now, I know a lot of people saying it's a dead project. It didn't work the way they wanted, and they're canning it. I don't think Ben Lee would do that specifically because they have already committed to doing it publicly.
Okay.
Now there may be delays in it because they get, last time the last Book of Heroes that came out, and the last two really, the community was very critical.
The only two?
Yeah, the only two that have come out. We've been very critical that there weren't fresh voice lines and things like that. And a lot of that comes down to, I think that hit during a time when they were having the bulk of the pandemic, and we're going back into it again, especially in California. Mm-hmm. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get voice actors into the studio to do these things. However, they've been doing a lot of changing in California so that the voice actors have been able to do their work remotely. So maybe that's something they've just needed time to do, and it might have delayed the Book of Heroes. But I think we will get all 10 Book of Heroes. I don't know if they'll go any further than that. I think this might be a project that they thought would be easy for them to do, and it doesn't generate any income other than bundles that they do around them. And I'm not sure it's going to be worth them to do something like this in the future. What does this mean for the future of solo content after the Book of Heroes is done? I don't know. I'm kind of worried about that, to be honest. I think they need to go back to a paid version, lump the 35 card mini sets into solo content to sell packs.
Like they did with the Adventures a few years ago?
Yep. And I know that the community is going to scream, oh, this is supposed to be a free-to-play game, but they have to be able to make money to make content. To make product. So they need to find that balance to appease the community and be able to make a content. Maybe Hearthstone doesn't need solo content. I know you have a lot of people really complain about that because they love you love the solo content. But maybe it doesn't make enough money.
If they removed the standard and wild ladder from Hearthstone tomorrow, it wouldn't affect me in the bit. I'd still play this game every day.
But if they remove solo content or any story-driven player content,
I don't know how much I'm going to be on it. I don't play ladder. I don't care about the ladder. I don't care about legend rank. I don't care about any of that. It's not fun to me. The fun comes from these new formats.
The problem is that might be why Book of Heroes and other solo content hasn't been consistent, is because not a lot of players share your opinion.
You're right.
Share your
You're absolutely
point of view.
right.
And I think this game is designed for ladder players.
If I am not Hearthstone's target demographic and they want to go more towards the majority of players who are playing the ladder and remove the other stuff, that's fine. I can go play Magic the Gathering Arena, or I can go play something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to devalue your stance. I want to make sure that your point of view is out there, because they do need to figure out a balance to keep this solo content and keep the story-driven content. They need to keep it in production somehow.
For me, duels is the best thing that's come along in this game since launch.
I love playing duels. I'm just really bad. I'm just so bad at that mode. I just really, I think in a ranked ladder mindset, and it's just, you and I need to sit down and do a duels run together.
I'm down whenever.
We just need to do that. You need to teach me.
So
hey, mark this time, mark this date. I am saying Avanti's is better than me at something.
that'll probably end up. I do the editing, and that'll probably somehow end up getting clipped out. I don't know how, but
yeah.
All right,
but yeah. So, long story short on that is, I do think that the Book of Heroes is going to come out. I'm worried what it means for other solo content when we're done with all 10 heroes. And I hope they figure it out by the time they're done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that pretty much does it for the news this week. We'll be.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you know there was this Hearthstone 2020 World Championship going on this weekend? Because I didn't know anything about it. There wasn't anything in the launcher.
So before we get into the Hearthstone 2020 World Championships that were this weekend, we actually were recording late so that we can report on this. they need to figure out a way to advertise this in client. And I don't just mean the PC client. I'm talking about the mobile client as well. A lot of your players play this on the toilet, and they need to know there's a world championship that they can watch on their YouTube app on their phone. So
while
they
they're on the
really
toilet.
need,
I mean, that's the important thing.
They need to promote this. The world championships, I watched it. I enjoyed it. But it felt disconnected.
Yeah.
It wasn't part of BlizzCon.
So,
it wasn't
yeah,
it wasn't
it was a standalone event for the first time.
There was no confetti. There was no accidental confetti. I mean, I don't know. It just felt really deflated.
Yeah. I've got to say, shame on Blizzard for not going into every competitor's house and putting a bucket of confetti above their head just in case. You know, I mean,
I know, right?
Come on, guys.
But I will say this: each competitor, aside from the Chinese competitors, because I couldn't see all their setup, the Chinese competitors were clearly at probably a NetEase venue.
Yes.
Because they were at the same venue. It looked very professional. Everybody else was out of their home, but if you noticed, they had a camera behind them.
Uh-huh.
This is ingenious. They sent them a setup for a personal cam and then another cam to point behind them at their monitors so they can make sure they're not using any extra software besides the trackers or doing any kind of stream sniping. Not that the world competitors were or should be doing this, but that tells me that the Blizzard Esports is doing a good job of trying not to have things that happened in the past and ruin their esports from happening again. So I just want to take a note that they didn't call it out or anything. It's just something I noticed. They never used that camera for anything. So I'm assuming, again, this is only me assuming, that it's there for professional integrity and security.
Yeah.
And that is very smart, and I'm glad they did it.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about our 8 World Championship competitors. So we'll start at the bottom and we'll work our way up. So in 7th and 8th place, we had the rookie, Bank Yugi, and the veteran, Bloodyface.
Yeah, we had high hopes for Bank Yugi. And I think, and they talked about this a little bit on the broadcast, and I think they're right. He doesn't have the tenure to have the kind of preparation that a lot of these other GMs have. He's only been a GM for one season. He literally promoted in season 2 and then won that season. So I think we're going to see good things from Bank Yugi going forward. And then Bloodyface, she did her best. I don't think she read the meta the way she wanted to.
Yeah, she's the only player that brought all aggro lists, right?
Well, it wasn't. It was kind of like it had a heavy aggro lean, but she also ran Highlander Hunter, which a lot of players ran Highlander Hunter, and a lot of those players lost in the first round. Highlander Hunter was one of the most touted decks going into World Championships. Everybody was saying how great Highlander Hunter was, and I think they said after day 1 it had an 18% win rate, which is abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
The only times I saw Highlander Hunter do well was in mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's very draw dependent, and I will say Bloodyface had a lot of bad RNG and bad luck.
Yes.
She had an Edwin, like a 10-10 or 12-12 Edwin played on her in game 3.
Yeah, on like turn 2 or turn, yeah.
By, I think it was Zhao Ti.
Yeah.
Or I can't remember which one it was, but she just had some really bad luck. Her plays were immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
As they always usually are. You know, I don't have a problem with that. But she just had a bad luck of it. And I expect to see Bloodyface in competitive play next season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, either way, Bloodyface and Bank Yugi are going home with $25,000 each.
Yeah, I mean,
not a bad payday.
Play 2 matches and get in bed by bedtime on day 1 and still make $25,000. Sign me up.
Yeah, right.
I'll do it.
Okay, so in 5th and 6th place, we had SYF as the casters kept calling him, and Shao Ti. Both players, a lot of people had talked up SYF coming into this event. That he had a really good shot at it, and he played well. Again, sort of like Bloody Face, SYF just kind of had some bad draws and some bad luck.
Well, I did see some questionable plays over SYF or Sif, as Gia calls him. So Gia's the smartest caster of all of them, so I'm going to keep calling him Sif. There was a lot of hype with SYF because he's the boyfriend of VK Lion, and VK Lion credits Sif with a lot of the preparation going into her World Championship win. So as a practice partner. So I expected him to at least make the semifinals, and he fell a little short. Both of the China representatives fell short. But again, normally we don't see China do this well. So I'm really happy with the diversity of our field going into the championships. One thing, and then second, China getting 5th and 6th over the likes of Bloody Face, who, in her own right, could be considered one of the best, if not the best, Hearthstone player in history right now.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so that brings us to our top 4 players. So in the top 4, we had Monsanto versus Glory, and we had Yarla versus Silvername.
Both Europeans.
Yes, both Europeans against each other, and then we had a North American versus an APAC player. So we'll start with Monsanto and Glory. Glory actually swept that match 3-0.
Yeah, Monsanto looked really good up until this match. I don't know what was going on, if he was getting tilted, fatigued. There is a level of stamina when it comes to competing in Hearthstone. I mean, on day 1, a lot of these players were up until 3-4 o'clock their time in the morning. And a couple of Chinese players 5-6 in the morning their time at another venue, mind you. Yeah. So there's a level of fatigue that I didn't know if Monsanto was going to be able to handle. He's a very relaxed individual, and you started seeing some major facial recognition and reactions in his match against Glory. And there were a few RNG moments where Glory rolled high, and I think Monsanto let that get to him. Every game the Monsanto lost, I saw a line that maybe if he took it differently, it could have resulted differently. But again, I'm not a pro player. I don't know if it would have been different, but I think the better player won that match, and it was Glory.
Yeah, I can totally get behind that assessment. Glory played really well in that match. So, all right. Then our next semifinal match saw the 2 Europeans, Yarla versus Silvername. Now, both of these players were highly touted favorites coming into this.
Well, I don't know if I would agree with this because a lot of the casters and ultimately the community at large were not giving Silvername a lot of credit. Mainly because the big meme was he won off Yogbox. He qualified for World Championships because of Yogbox. And yes, his 3rd game in the finals of that Season 1 championship was won by Yogbox. It was in the 3rd game of the finals, and he was already up 2-0. So he could roll the dice on using Yogg to win. So I personally think that they did not give Silvername enough credit. Now, going into this, Yarla was 6-0 in game matches. He had swept both of his first 2 matches to qualify for the semifinals. So nobody had taken a blemish off of him. So he's playing probably the best Hearthstone, and arguably was being considered the best player in the world at this point.
Yeah, I think Matt at Arms, our host, our co-host here, and friend said that it looked like Yarla was playing 4D chess at Hearthstone tournament because he was just outplaying everyone.
And he won this game 3-1, meaning Silvername did take a game off of him, kind of disrupting the flow, and Silvername goes into that third and fourth place bracket slot, and him and Monsanto both get $50,000 for their efforts.
That's right. 2 days worth of gameplay, $50,000 in their pockets, and not a bad start. That will help. So I think it's important to note that Silvername was recently relegated from EU Grandmasters. So
and I don't know if he has enough points to get re-promoted.
I was gonna say a $50,000 payday might go a long way to help getting him back.
I'll be honest. At this point, I was hoping it won't qualify him for the next season. It would be the season after, if I'm not mistaken. But I really want a Silvername to win the World Championships, just so that we can show the flaw that a relegated Grandmaster could be our world champion and not be able to defend his title the next season.
Right.
And which I think is something that we really need to address. Yeah. We have had 2 years now. We have had a relegated player. It was Fenomeno last year. And then this year it's Silvername, where if they won the world championship, they could literally be our world champion and relegated and can't play in the next GMC.
How is Hearthstone Esports not sweating bullets every time this situation comes up?
And how have they not addressed it yet?
Exactly.
I mean, I could possibly see it last year. Okay, it was a flawed system. Let's make some changes for the next year so it doesnn't happen again.
No, let's keep the same flawed system.
Same situation where...
yeah.
Please, Blizzard Esports, Hearthstone Esports, fix the Grandmaster Grandmaster system so that if someone qualify for Worlds, they don't get relegated. They cannot be relegated.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us to the finals of the 2020 Hearthstone World Championships, which saw Glory from the APAC versus Yarla from the EU.
EU has the record number of champions.
Correct.
And APAC hasn't had a champion since Tom 60229.
Yep.
And so is that the only APAC champion we've had?
I believe so, yes.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. Tell them how this match went down.
So if you are going to go and ask me what game of the championship should I watch, normally, I'll be honest, in past Hearthstone championships, it's never the finals, because there's always a finals-worthy matchup and series that I think is better than the championship. Sometimes the championships are pretty boring. Well, not this year, because Glory and Yarla had... If you want to watch one game, watch Game 4, where Glory ends up upsetting Yarla, beating him 3-1 in a crazy, what was it? I can't even describe the match. It was just, what Man at Arms said, that had to been the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was Game 4 was Demon Hunter versus Demon Hunter.
Yeah, it's Demon Hunter mirror. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a mirror.
Well,
it was Soul Demon Hunter versus Il'gynoth OTK.
Which, remember, Yarla was playing the Il'gynoth OTK. Mm-hmm. So going up into this, Yarla had only dropped 1 game out of 3 series.
Correct.
So evidently, he is making this deck work. And he did. A lot of people said that if you go on the ladder and see people playing this deck, don't worry, it's not going to be played to the level that Jarla's playing it. And Jarla was playing it to perfection.
Yeah.
And I think in game 4, he played it to perfection. But Glory was just a little more perfect.
That's right.
And Glory always made sure he was literally 1 damage point out of lethal, like for like 6 turns.
Yes, absolutely.
You could tell he was making sure to put. At one point, he was like at 28 health, and he made sure to heal up to 30. And later, those 2 points of healing really mattered. Mm-hmm. He was also actively making sure to go out of his way to shuffle soul fragments in his deck. And it's like, oh, all Jarla has to do is he's setting up this term. He just has to hit these break points, and then he's got lethal. And then all of a sudden, Glory draws 3 soul fragments.
And draws, not only draws them, draws exactly the cards he needs
in
to
the order
counter Jarla's board in the order he needs them.
And I know a lot of people say that's completely RNG, but he set those cards. He made sure not to shuffle soul fragments in when he didn't need them, and then to shuffle soul fragments in when he needed them. And the card just happened to line up the way he needed to, and he ended up winning that game 4.
Yep. So
I think if he didn't win that game, Jarla takes the series in game 5.
I agree 100%. So Jarla ends up taking second place and a $100,000 payday, and Glory is your 2020 Hearthstone World Champion, taking home not only the title but a $200,000 payday.
And in my opinion, the best representative out of APAC.
Absolutely.
Tom 60229 was good his year, but Glory has shown he's been good every single year. And Tom 60229 is no slouch. Right. But I've never seen the level play out of him as I've seen out of Glory the last 2 years. And I'm going to say it now. If anybody has a chance to become a 2-time champion, it's Glory.
Okay.
I think he has what it takes. I don't want to root for it because I want to root for the likes of Bloody Face, Bank Yugi, Sif, those that have really cool stories. But when it comes down to, I know everybody's saying Jarla's the best player in the world. And I know EU has great players.
Uh-huh.
I think Glory might be one of the best all-around players in the world. We just need to see him more. Okay. And I think this next year, 2021, is going to be the year of Glory. We see him qualify for another World Championships, and I think we might see him take it again next year.
Would you say it's going to be a glorious year?
It would be glorious.
All right.
You stole my punchline for next year. I'm so going to save that up till next year.
All right. So
let's say it next week.
Overall, I watched most of both days of the tournament, and I thought they did a really good job. There were some technical hiccups yesterday. They had some audio issues and some other stuff, but
let's clarify. There were technical hiccups in the broadcast.
Yes, not in the gameplay.
Not in the game. Broadcast. There weren't any technical issues with the game. Yeah. Actually, this was probably the most flawless, uninterrupted game sequence we've had. There were times that there was long pauses between matches, but that was to make sure, because I know at one point the Chinese venue had an issue with the connection to the game. And so they fixed that, but they didn't start the game until it was fixed.
Right.
So they did a really good job on the technical side for the game portion of it. I want to harken back to what I said before. I do think this just felt like a regular tournament.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a World Championships. But the only thing that looked like a World Championship was Frodan. Wearing the glitter jacket and this frilly silk mask thing across his eyes.
Yeah, not a mask like we're used to in 2020.
No, like across his eyes. And he wore it the entire broadcast of day one, which is amazing. Yes. And he had a fresh dye job on the hair. Frodan did not disappoint. TJ kept his antics up. But ultimately, I just think I wanted more pizzazz. I wanted I wanted something more. I wanted somebody like Bentley or somebody on the dev team to pipe in and present, even if it wasn't presenting a trophy directly to the winner, at least present a message to the winner that I saw publicly.
Yeah.
Something BlizzCon-y that kind of marked the moment, because we didn't get a BlizzCon this year. The BlizzCon we're going to get is going to be BlizzCon Line. We're not going to see competitive esports for Hearthstone that I know of.
Yeah.
So I just fell flat for me. But the competition was at a peak. It was probably some of the best competition I've seen since last year, obviously, during the VK Lion run. But overall, out of all 8 competitors, they all played really good Hearthstone.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, there you go. Go check it out if you want to watch some, or you go check out just that last game 4 of the finals if you're looking for some really good gameplay. That brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, Battle of the Bands. So this is a repeat brawl. Pick 4 cards. Your opponent will ban one of them, and then we'll make a deck full of the cards remaining. So this is always a one and done for me. Get my pack and move on.
I want to done this, but then I got a quest to play 3 more. And it was play 3, so I didn't have to win, which is good. So I just I did the... I can't remember all the cards in it, but one of the cards is Deck of Lunacy.
Yes.
And basically, for some reason, they never banned Deck of Lunacy. And so my entire deck just becomes random spells. And it's just a lot of fun.
I'll have to try that. I haven't played it yet, so
yeah, it's like 2 of the one is the one that gives you 3 minions if you don't have any minions in your deck. You discover a minion. If you don't have any minions in your deck,
you get all 3. Right.
And then one is the one mana spell that discovers a random mage spell or gives you a random mage spell. And then the other one is Magic Trick, the 1 mana spell that discovers a 3 or less cost.
Okay.
Well, they almost always ban the one that gives you minions because they don't want you to have minions.
Right.
And then so your Deck of Lunacy is there, and all of a sudden your deck is filled up with 4 and 5 mana spells that cost 1 and 2, and ta-da!
Yep. So, all right. So that's going to bring us to this week's deck list, and we are taking this time to look at that deck from Game 4 of the finals, which was Glory's World Championship Soul Demon Hunter deck. So I'll run down the deck list here, and then kind of I know Zeroshio's really excited about this deck. He loves everything about this deck, and he could just talk about it and play it all the time. I'm kidding. Obviously, he thinks this deck is boring, and I'll let him explain why after I go over the deck list. So it is 1 Consume Magic, 2 Spirit Jailers, 2 Twin Slice, 2 Blade Dance, 2 Chaos Strike, 2 Mana Feeder Panthara, 2 Soul Shear, 2 Wand Maker, 2 Aldraki Warblades, 2 Relentless Pursuit, 2 Shard Shatter Mystics, 1 copy of Il'gynoth, 2 Marrow Slicers, 2 Soul Shard Lapidaries, 2 Bladed Ladies, 2 Skull of Gul'dan, and 1 Soulciologist Militia.
So this is a good deck. The only problem I have with the deck is it's not very flashy. It's kind of boring. And,
I know it does stupid stuff like win for some reason.
Well,
I don't get it.
Is there's not a lot of new cards in here. You have Il'gynoth and 2 Bladed Ladies. Other than that, it's pretty much Soul Demon Hunter that we played all year long, pretty much.
Yeah.
The Il'gynoth isn't even in here for any kind of shenanigans. Like Yarla's list was an Il'gynoth combo deck. Il'gynoth here, you sometimes tempo him out, and if he does any damage, he just doubles his damage, basically.
Yeah.
If they have to trade into it, then they're taking extra damage for trading into it. I haven't ran this list, so this will be the first times I run it. I was actually playing some of Yarla's deck because I was expecting Yarla to win. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting Yarla to win championships. We were going to play Yarla's Demon Hunter deck, and Glory made it difficult on us. I think this is a very good deck. If you want to get on the ladder, you might want to dodge Paladin, but other Paladin and Warrior. But if you're not seeing Paladin and Warrior, this is a good deck to run. And if you're seeing Hunter, it's really good because a lot of times they have to run their minions into your Il'gynoth, which is just going to be more damage. Also, against classes like Hunter and Rogue, damage sticks because they don't have a lot of healing right now. So any damage you're going to do is going to pretty much be permanent damage to their face.
All right. So I'm looking forward to playing this some on or getting to see this played. I'm at gold rank 3, and so I may try to use this to move on up out of gold. Gold 2 is my highest rank since the new system went into place. So
I think you could I think you could use this deck to get into platinum.
Okay.
Easily. Even you.
All right. So if you are joining us on YouTube, please stay tuned as we go into the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. And we'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty, sir. I need to reconnect to the game. Okay, there we go. So you're going to drive this week, right?
Yep, and I am sitting around just over or under, depending how you look at it, 1800 legend. I'm at 1793.
Okay.
And I'm spinning the wheel. Let me...
I may have to log out and log back in. I'm still populating.
My client just crashed.
So maybe it's not me, because
maybe it's not you.
I was going to say, I don't know if you can see my friends list. It's just flickering.
Yeah, mine just, I just launched it and it crashed.
I'm going to go ahead and just close the client and relaunch it.
That's probably a good idea. I'm relaunching mine now. I was trying to spin for an opponent and it just crashed. It might actually join me into a game, and if it does, I'll just quit it.
Yeah, that would be bad because we didn't get to pick our cards or talk about our mulligans.
Nope, it didn't.
Okay.
It didn't join me in the game, but I'm not getting any audio. Why am I not getting any audio? That's weird. Getting 0 game audio. Oh well. I don't need game audio.
Right.
All right.
There we go. Now I'm seeing a friends list here.
Okay. Spinning the wheel.
All right. There we go. I see a spectator eye next to your name now. Oh. So, Demon Hunter versus Demon Hunter. This is to be expected.
Yeah, sorry. My sound was all jacked up once I got it fixed. Okay.
All right. So, we've got Soul Shard Lapidary, Twin Slice, and Aldraki Warblades. What are we looking for here?
So, if this is aggro Demon Hunter, we probably want the Aldraki Warblades to challenge early board.
Okay.
I think we can throw back the Soul Shard Lapidary. We might want to keep the Twin Slice, and we might even be using it early, depending on how he develops. Okay. So I think that's all we throw back.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Because with Soul Demon Hunter, you can kind of, if they get ahead of you, you're pretty much dead. Oh, wow. Soul Shatter Mystic Shard Shatter Mystic is really good.
If we have a Soul Fragment in our deck.
We need to get Soul Fragments, yeah.
So just
So
hero power, hit face, and
yep.
pass.
All right.
All right, they're gonna do the exact same thing. Soul Shear. Okay.
There's Solskjaer. That's good. I think we just hero power head to face again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
The hardest part about the Demon Hunter Mirror is knowing what they're playing,
Uh huh.
because there are a few different Demon Hunter lists out there right now. So, and they all kind of have the small shell that's the same. So once you see what they're playing, ooh, he's coining out something. Oh,
Okay.
he must have a really bad hand.
Yeah. So we're gonna just soul shard that.
Are we?
Well,
Well, now that we do the sociologist, I think you're right. I'm just wondering if there's any merit to developing the Aldraki.
I mean, we could take 2 damage and then just pass the turn.
Because if we develop the Aldraki and not swing face at all, we have the Blade Dance at hand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And we can always soul shear right before we shard shatter.
Yeah.
So I think we hold the attack and everything.
Okay.
This is a bit of a tempo play, but in the way I play Soul Demon Hunters, I play it as a tempo deck.
Right. So there's his Warblades, and he's
He's
going
swinging
face. So there's the other Shard Shatter. So
I think we go ahead and soul shear this.
I agree.
Hero power and go face.
I like it.
Heal back a little bit of that damage.
Now you, well, I mean, you could always twin slice to get back to almost full health.
Could be. He's also going to heal.
That's true.
And it shows the twin slice.
Yeah.
And this almost showing him some pressure and putting us at parity makes him feel like he needs to swing. A lot of people have this weird concept. They want to stay ahead of you in health as much of the game, especially Demon Hunter players.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really the best way to play the matchup. You can be behind and then come out of nowhere. Oh,
there's
wow,
his second Warblades already.
So
nice. There's our second Warblades.
This is where we might end up seeing what this deck is. Because if he starts holding swings, he might be combo.
Okay.
The question is, do we shard shatter just to develop a minion?
I don't think so.
Or do we swing and just put the other Aldraki?
I think we do the exact same thing he did. Swing face and play the other Aldraki.
Okay. I agree. I just, again, want to check every line. The question is, does he swing with this? Because he might be combo, which is the Yarla deck.
Well, there's his Lore Keeper. Combo. Yeah. Yeah, so he is Il'gynoth OTK.
I want to draw another Soul Shatter. A Soul Shear. Didn't. Ooh.
There's a Lapidary.
The thing with either using Shard Shatter or Lapidary is then we don't have anything for Sociologists.
Right. Well, right now we only have 2 in there for Sociologists. I think we need to hold Sociologists for much later.
I think you're right. So Lapidary, Hero Power, and clear the Polkelt?
I think so.
Because we know he's going to Skull of Gul'dan this turn.
Yeah.
That's 100% going to happen.
Yep.
He might end up dealing with hand size issues. So this health going up to 28 is going to help us, because I do think he's Il'gynoth combo.
Uh-huh. So there's the skull.
Skull's coming.
There's his Il'gynoth.
But he's going to have to dump some of these that are probably free. Which sets us up for Shard Shatter.
He's got 9 in his hand, so.
Oh, Blade Lady.
So
Do we just play Sociologist for the 5/5 and the 3/3 body?
well,
He can't combo us yet unless he got a lot of stuff
he
reduced.
he can't combo us yet, but he's still got 5, 6 cards in his hand from before he
Or
drew.
or do we twin slice, second slice, and get out the Bladed Lady for 1 mana?
I don't hate that. I mean, I don't even hate playing Bladed Lady at full cost and saving our attack.
Because we don't need to heal for that much. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate that either.
And just swing for 5 and pass.
I swung with weapon too.
Oops.
Because I wanted to heal.
Okay.
I want to stay at 30. We don't really have any more healing other than soul shards.
Right.
That might have been a mistake. We'll find out. I think he might have combo pieces in hand. He's doing math. And when they do math, that's kind of good because they need some time to do the.
So here comes the blade dance, I think.
Well, if he swings, Wandmaker, that's a weird inclusion. If he swings, that means he's losing some damage from Il'gynoth. Because now he'll be down both of his Warblades. Okay, this is...
He's setting up his combo.
No, this... I don't... Maybe?
I ran Raging Fell Screamer in my Il'gynoth OTK.
You run Star Student little...
I did not run Star Student Stelina.
Okay, so we can Shard Shatter?
Yeah. Which will clear everything but the 4/4, which then you can clear with your face.
I could clear it with my face. Or I could Hero Power Up, Blade Dance it down, and use that damage to face. Nah, I think I'd just clear it with my face. But that's our last Soul Fragment. So this is going face. We just gonna clear the 4/1 with our face?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I just really want to pressure him.
So here's the thing about Il'gynoth. The more minions you have on your side of the board, the more damage he can do to you with Fell Scream.
They can do it to their own minions.
That's true. They can do it to their own minions, but...
Yeah.
So are we just playing a Bladed Lady? What do you think about Bladed Lady into... Oh, it's an enemy minion only. Never mind.
Yeah, I wish it was an enemy minion.
Yeah.
I think we Bladed Lady and make him deal with it.
Yeah, and then swing face, hero power. Yeah.
He is running I think this is a Il'gynoth combo. It's just a very different variant I'm not used to seeing. It's definitely not the Yarla list.
Yeah, well,
which is
no,
very much streamlined.
This almost looks like the Vicious Syndicate. This almost looks like the Vicious Syndicate list.
He's gonna burn a card if he's not careful. Yeah, he's gonna burn a card.
Well, he probably has everything he needs in his hand.
He might. If he doesn't, he's... So start with Chaos Strike?
Yeah. He's only got 6 cards. Yeah, he's probably got the entire...
Marrow Slicer, that's good.
That's good.
And then I'm going to consume magic on the 2/3.
Yes.
To draw a card. Maybe we can draw a...
Okay. So, send all 12 damage face and play the Mana Feeder?
Well, we won't draw a card unless we Hero Power.
Oh, okay. Well, you can still you can do that, yeah.
But we don't deal with the 2/3.
Does it matter?
It might not.
I
But
mean,
that means he only needs to come up with 20 damage instead of 22. But I think it's the right play.
so
I was hoping we would draw a soul fragment.
So he has to kill us
Ooh,
pretty much this turn.
See? He burned a Moarg Artificer.
He doesn't need both of them.
Doesn't he? He didn't duplicate one. I don't know if this is enough. Wait, he hit the... That doesn't seem right. You're supposed to hit the Moarg with that. Or I guess it doesn't really matter. I think you have to have 2 Moargs.
Depends on how he's gonna do damage.
Thanos isn't...
So there's 10.
10. He doesn't have a lifesteal weapon.
There's 18.
There he goes. Okay. He got it.
Yep. Plenty of damage.
We didn't draw enough soul fragment generators.
That's true. We did not.
So
we were at what starting that turn? 22?
Which is yeah.
And we ended up at -8?
Negative 18.
So yeah, we would have been dead regardless because he
did
over 30 damage.
It might have been -8. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he got us. But that is what Yarlo was wanting to do to Glory, but Glory was able to draw the soul fragment. So
yeah,
like I said, if Glory didn't pull that game out, I think he loses in 5. Priest.
Okay.
Well, this will give us enough time. Do we keep the Marrow Slicer? I'm thinking we throw Il'gynoth back and that's it.
I think so too. I like that.
I like the Marrow Slicer. We can Wand Maker on 2, Mana Feeder on 3, Power on 3, and Marrow Slicer 4.
Yep.
And you might ask, well, what do we do on 1? We're Demon Hunter. We swing face.
Hero power. That's right.
I mean, we could use a coin, but I don't think. I think the coin's better used later. Relentless Pursuit's one of those cards I don't know.
I'll tell you what, it really made a difference in the World Championship.
It did, but it's a lot of mana, and you're basically using it to swing to trade. So I don't know. So he played that uncorrupted.
Yes.
Interesting.
So Wand Maker on 2.
It's not reduced. Mana Burn.
Okay.
Is that worth a coin, Mana Burn, now?
I don't hate that. That sets them back a turn.
He'll have 1 mana to play with, and he doesn't have a coin.
That's correct.
And we didn't really have a plan for our coin. And I think this gives us a turn on a turn that we're going to kind of be passive, where we hero power. We're going to draw.
Yeah.
So we're going to want hero power mana feeder. Then he'll do something, and we can react with Marrow Slicer if need be.
Right. So hero power, mana feeder, swing for 3.
Oh, Marrow Slicer into Soulshard Lapidary.
That's
nice.
Good. Yeah.
We might be able to rush him down. And then follow that with Relentless Pursuit and Twin Slices.
So there's this Cobalt. Okay, so Marrow Slicer.
Yeah, do we just swing face?
I don't hate that.
I mean,
you could just swing face with the 2 minions and save this for the Soul Shard Lapidary, and then turn 5, and then go Twin Slice, Relentless Pursuit on 6. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, but the damage doesn't really change if we don't swing now. We can actually have the Eldraki rotated in there if we need to.
That's true. Okay.
So yeah, let's just swing face. Give him pressure. The only thing I'm worried about is if he can put that life steal on the 3/5.
Yes, yeah.
I forget the name of that spell. That's the only
Something
punch.
Osis. Apotheosis.
Yeah, apotheosis. If he can
Yeah.
apotheosis this turn, that's kind of punished. We could react, but discover apotheosis. It's even worse. Wouldn't call that a snap pick, but it was pretty quick. It would reduce it by 1, so he could play it this turn.
Yeah.
If that is indeed what he got. Only smite that was in his deck. That wasn't discovered. Interfire, I'm okay with that. That was what came off one of the spells off the Cobalt Spellkin.
Yep.
My Kingdom for Blade Dance. Soul Shear.
Soul Shear's not terrible. Do we Soul Shear the Spellkin? Swing face and set up the Warblades?
I don't hate that. I think we Soul Shear the Veil Weaver, though. Because the Spellkin is just damage. Which we'll make back up with the Warblades.
I mean, we could Soul Shear the Spellkin and then clear the Veil Weaver with our face.
But then we're not generating face damage.
We're not.
I think we Soul Shear the Veil Weaver.
Okay.
And then we just go face. And then develop the Warblades. Because think about it. If he does hit us in the face for 5, we're going to heal it back with Soul Shard Lapidary.
That's true.
Right?
Yep.
And we're actually making a conscious push for lethal. We're right now sitting on 7 with the Lapidary. We could actually...
Twin Slice, that'd be 9 damage from the weapon next turn. 9. And then next turn.
I'm not even sure we Lapidary. Oh, it's apotheosis.
5, 6, 7.
That 8. We can deal with this. It sucks, but we can deal with it. We can relentless. We'd have to use a twin slice.
Hang on. Let's think here. Because with Il'gynoth on the board, every attack from the Warblades is doubled.
To their face.
To their face.
Yeah.
So let's think this through.
Well, we'll still have another charge on this Warblades. We could do it next turn.
Right. So Soul Shard Lapidary now, which will be 5, 6, 7.
Hero power would be 8.
8. Then they're going to gain back 7, so we're only doing 1 damage.
So, well, what if we Relentless Pursuit and Twin Slice and hit it? Then they don't heal.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Because we'll have to Twin Slice. Our hero power's not enough. I'm still going to hero power for the lifesteal, but not that it matters. But that way they don't get the lifesteal.
Right. There's a taunt. Okay.
We can still go this route. That's 6, not 7.
Yeah.
We have another Eldrazi Warblade in the deck.
We do. Yeah.
So Soul Shard Lapidary will clear this.
Yep.
And then do we just tempo down a Mana Feeder?
I think that's the play.
Just to develop that extra minion?
Yeah.
It doesn't draw us a card, but...
Right. But every additional bit of damage is
Because we're showing in our hands an extra 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's essentially 20 damage with Il'gynoth.
not unless we get the other Warblade.
Yeah. Ugh. Man, that's some tempo.
Yeah.
Do we just push damage? Is this a race? Lapidary and Relentless together is 9.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
We don't even bother clearing his minions because they don't matter.
Nope. It don't matter. Let's try it. See what happens.
Do we Relentless or do we Hero Power and Twin Slice, Second Slice?
Let's go ahead and twin slice here. Let's twin slice, second slice, in case we have to use the Relentless to clear another taunt.
Okay. Draconic Study. Oh, don't get another taunt. What's his own? How many taunts that are neutral, or there's only one dragon that's a taunt? Two?
No, there's
one's a spell burst.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not talking about anything that's outside priest because it won't get other classes.
Right. I'm talking about neutrals and
there's a 7/7. Ooh, that was. Is that? Did he do that just to get the 7/7?
There it is. Yep.
He did just to get the 7/7. Okay, well we can clear it. It's just annoying.
Can we?
Yeah. Second Slice Hero Power Relentless Pursuit.
Okay, yeah. Relentless is 4. I was only counting it as 3.
I'd love a Blade Dance.
Yes. That would be fantastic.
That's not a Blade Dance. So Relentless Pursuit. Second Slice Hero Power. We're going to clear that. The question is, do we play the Il'gynoth? Because if we play the Il'gynoth and he has to run a minion into it, that's at least 2 more damage to face.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're not playing Il'gynoth OTK. It's just an option.
Nope, we're not. This way, he'll almost have to, unless he has a spell, he'll have to run the Mirazon into it, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it will do 2 additional damage to his face, offsetting what he would do with the hero power. I don't think we win this game.
Yeah.
Just for the record. I think the way we win it now is probably Skull of Gul'dan into some really good draws, one of which being Sociologist. But then we would have to still play the Spirit Jailer to get a good Sociologist. I don't know. This is going to be rough. I did not want to see extra healing. And just for our viewers, listeners, I am not a Soul Demon Hunter expert. I'm not a Demon Hunter expert at all. So I'm likely not playing this optimally.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, this deck is good because it won World Champs. And he's just getting the right cards. Well, he traded like we wanted him to, but he also healed a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So he knows we have a Spirit Jailer in hand. Soul Fragment into Soul Shear.
That doesn't really help us.
Has he got lethal? Yeah, he's got lethal on board.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean, you can remove 2 damage.
I can, but I don't think that's a win. I'm going to pull out of this.
All right. Well, yeah. Go watch Glory play it because he played it a whole lot better than we did.
I promise you guys. I know I've been losing on the show lately, but I'm sitting in a good legend number, so I do pretty good at this deck. At this game. I'm probably just I'm a paladin player. Maybe that's just it.
Yeah. So, all right, gang. Well, that's gonna pretty much do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, like Nigel did this week, please do not hesitate to send us an email at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you've not done so already. And if you'd like any more details about our patron-only Discord, head on over to patreon.com/heropower. We'd love to have you join us. We'd love to discuss Hearthstone with you. Until next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys.